Few years ago, I was working full time while trying to make real estate part time work. Fast forward to now, I have fully transitioned to full time and have been growing my own business. So stick around in this video because I'm going to be sharing exactly what I did to move on to this business full time. And also, I have put together a playbook to help you navigate if you are an agent that has been working part time and really want to take the full leap into real estate full time. So stick around to the end. So let's start with a little bit of a story time. So why did you even get into real estate? That is a great question. And I wish I had this like beautiful story to share that I always thought about real estate and, it runs in the family. And my whole story is really, I found real estate, or I should say, real estate found me. I was working the tech industry, really loved what I was doing, thought that was my career for a long time, and had my plans. At the time, I was a senior program manager here with a consulting company in the Seattle area, and then working with clients like Microsoft for many years. So managing big groups and accounts, and for a long time, I was feeling very fulfilled and was kind of trying my path towards becoming a director. And then pandemic hits, as multiple people kind of went through like contemplating about life. I think I had went down that route as well. And I was feeling very like unfulfilled and a little bit bored with my work because all of a sudden I felt that I was not being used to my max capacity. Things were working well and my company loved that. But at the same time, I was feeling a little bit stuck because my growth had stopped quite a lot because I was not feeling as challenged. And I don't know about you, I actually do love a challenge. I thrive in a challenge because I like to solve things. And throughout the years, when I was enjoying my work and everything, I did had a friend that was in real estate. That any opportunity that he will see me, he will share. Hey, Amanda, I think you should get into real estate. And I was like, no, real estate is not for me. I'm glad that this is working for you. I always love to host events at my house, just for friends and for fun. And he'll come to my parties, meet my friends, and then help them buy and sell. And he'll come and tell me like, "Hey, this could have been your deal." And I was still saying like, "Hey, I'm good. I don't like real estate. I don't like sales." So kind of almost like leave me alone a little bit. So then, fast forward to the pandemic, I restart thinking, what do I wanted to do? I was still not quite thinking about real estate. I was kind of looking to other companies, other opportunities. And then I thought, why not? Why do I have to lose? I'll take the class, do the course, and then see what happens. And then, I started taking the classes. It took me a little longer than I expected because I got just sidetracked with other things, which is, I get it. It's common, right? It wasn't my priority and it wasn't like, a huge goal for me at the time. And so finally finished, taking my classes in back in 2023. So, all the quick sales, four or $500,000 homes, getting over ask kind of crazy market. I kind of had passed that a little bit. Not that it was a bad market, but it was not 2022 market. So I got my license around on March of 2023. And at that point, I had to make a commitment to myself. What am I going to do with this? I was not ready to make the jump. I had, an amazing job, six figure, a career that I could have continued. So I told myself, I'm going to try real estate for 1 full year. I would like to see the trends. I would like to see what it feels like to do the different seasons. And I'm going to stick with my job. I cannot let something that I know that I'm good at for something that I have no experience. So that was a little bit kind of my beginning journey there in just trying real estate. And I have to say, it didn't take me that long to actually know what I wanted to do. Within 1 month in the business, I was absolutely in love with real estate, with the group that I was part of it. From day one, at that time, I was following that one friend that, got me to real estate. So I said, wherever you're going to be, I'm following you because you're going to be my mentor. And he had just transitioned at the time from Compass to EXP Realty. At that time, I had no idea about honestly any brokerage. And all my plan was like, hey, wherever you at, I'm going to get started with you. And then from there, we'll see. And I have to say, I'm very grateful that he made that move because he has been the best team I could ever have joined, and it totally has changed my life. And so, yeah, so April 1st, 2023, I announced it to the world. Hello, everybody. I am a real estate agent. And obviously, I got a lot of cheers and some boos too, because one more realtor. Oh, let's see how long she's going to do this. Oh, here comes Amanda. She's going to try to sell me another house. So, definitely I went through a lot of different emotions in the beginning, but I have to say, I stuck to the plan. This is the one thing that I can say about myself that it helped me in this business and has continued to help me where I'm at with my transition. Um, and again, even though I loved the real estate within my first few months, my mentor and the group that I was part of was very heavily on social media. So I jumped in on that from day one. And then within 1 month of being in the business, one little Facebook post that I did in one of the groups that I was part of, a lady reached out to me and asked, can you help me to list my property? And this was someone that I didn't have any connections. She didn't know anybody in common. She just saw my post and reached out to me because she wanted a woman to help her going through that process. Unfortunately, her and her husband was going through a divorce. And that trust was built almost immediately, even though we had no idea about each other. And but obviously, even knowing the situation, I was very, careful about and just my awareness and of anything that either she was needing or the husband, because both of them were my clients, even though she was the one that reached out. So it was definitely kind of a little bit of walking eggshells in the beginning. I was learning a lot of new things. Thankfully, I had great mentors that helped me go through the process, but that was a little bit of just me getting to real estate. And as I continue to share a little bit more about my story, but that was just kind of the beginning, of where I've been at this point. So as I was, getting my first deals, I actually had a very high success rate compared to the average, that we hear in real estate. In 5 months, I was able to close 5 deals, and that was an incredible feeling. Obviously, I was helping a lot of families. Out of those fives, I got like 2 listing and 3 buyers. So I got to experience both sides of the residential transaction, from the beginning and quite fast. And some of them I actually had to have a very quick turnaround because one client was a 2 deal. They were contingent when we put an offer, and we had to get their house ready on the market in a week. And we got an offer within that same weekend. So that was, a lot of things happened really fast. I have to say that, my tech background definitely helped me just staying organized. I've been managing projects, project management. It's my, minor that I study. So I definitely deal with a lot of things in my life, a little bit, as a project. So it definitely helped me kind of stay put on the business side of things, even though I was learning a lot of new things about real estate. And I'm not gonna lie, it was not easy, it was not pretty. I had a job, right? And real estate, but I took both of them as I had truly 2 full-time jobs. Any moment that I had away from my tech job, it was invested in real estate. I definitely had to have a conversation with my fiance, now husband at the time, that the dynamic in our house and with my stepkids and our weekends was going to change. And I just needed to make sure I fully got their support. So I didn't want to feel bad about not being available as much as I used to. So that definitely helped me a lot, having their support. And, a lot of our family time became just an evening thing, especially on the weekends. And but yeah, so I would say probably around those first few months, I already knew that real estate was something that I wanted to do. I saw the potential. Obviously, I had a good result. I felt in love, but I was not ready on a position to make the move. And obviously, I was going to stick around with my plan to do it for at least a year, but I already knew that's what I wanted to do. And that was came, probably my first big struggle, even outside of like, managing my hours, working super late. Probably those first 3, 5 months, I worked 7 days a week, to fulfill all the things that happened. I was very proactive. Um, and then life happens. I was hit with something personal that really took a toll on me. And I kind of like slowed down quite a lot on the real estate side of things. Obviously, I had another job. It was my safety net at the time. So I relied on that because, in a way, it was a little bit easier. I already knew what I was doing and I could manage that a lot, easier, especially because, I was also working remotely from home. And so on that time, I was not, the energy wasn't there. I just want the struggle was real. There are days that I literally would have just get up, record my video, and go right back to bed. So it was a very impactful time in my life that I had to go, find hope in some other areas to make sure that I, could keep going. And this is just like I just shared that just to show that it's not perfect. It's not like follow step 1, 2, 3, and then it's equals to the next step. But my consistency is something that I have to say that I was really good at it. I made a commitment on how many times I was going to be posting on social media. I was still doing open houses on the weekend, even when I felt all I wanted to do was to be in my house under the covers, not talking to anybody. And I am a very outgoing person, but I did not want to see no one around that time. So one of the things, because I was had a lot of experience, managing people for so many years, with EXP, I had also the opportunity to grow my revenue share. Just another way of also getting income, a little bit more passive, but with a long-term goal. And so I kind of just naturally just started doing that. More agent was asking me, wow, you just got started, you're getting a lot of success. How did you do that? And I was getting more calls and more calls, and I had agents start joining my group. So that was actually very easy for me because I love that. I help people, grow on their career. So now I was just shifting that on the real estate world. Even though I was brand new in real estate, I was not new about being a leader, being a manager. So I kind of knew how to structure and help people if they wanted to take to the next level. So thankfully, I had that option as well because my energy was more involved in that area at the time. So I spent, a lot of time in Zoom calls, didn't have to get out of my house. And, and I was just excited to help someone, start building their business and, creating a plan, creating a goal, creating a business plan, which all things that I already had experience with. So I kind of shifted a little bit on that end. And then, the next year started. I was kind of like, getting out of my funk. And I'm like, okay, real estate was never like, I don't want to do it. It was just like I needed to work on myself a little bit to bring myself back up again. And here I am, I'm back, starting to close deals. And then I made the plan, right? How much money do I need to save so that I can, quit my job? As I said, I was making a 6-figure job, have high expenses because sometimes that's what you do. You make more money and you spend more money. And I was definitely on that category. I was helping, my grandparents. And so there was a lot of responsibilities on my back that even though I had a good success, it was not enough for me to just take the leap and just go, especially when I had a little bit of that downfall in my personal life at the time. And so, again, start picking myself back up, start closing deals again. So the year, starting definitely looking on the brighter side. At that time, my goal was that in June of last year of 2024, that was when I was going to be making my leap, and getting to real estate full time. Well, June came around. I did had already saved, the money that I told myself that I needed for me to get into real estate full time. And then something happened, not a bad thing. Um, Property showed up for us in Arizona, and we had some family needs. We bought a house, and my little money that had a different plan from it, it went on this investment property. Now we have an Airbnb in there, and even though it was something that we wanted to build, was part of our family goal to create our portfolio with real estate. I don't only tell people to buy; I do that myself. It was not necessarily the top goal of my list at that time because I really wanted to make the shift. I was really burned out of having two jobs. I was tired, and I honestly just didn't want it to be dual focus. And I have to say, I am very efficient with my time, but I was also tired and wanted to make the shift because I already knew I wanted to do real estate. And a lot of people that would actually meet me, they actually didn't even know I had another full-time job just because of my consistency that was showed on my social media and how I did everything. People could tell that I was fully in. And I think sometimes that is one of the difference that I see if you are in a part-time job or sorry, doing have a full-time job and you're doing real estate part-time, but you're not taking that serious. Like, do you really want that to become a full-time? If that's your goal, maybe all you want is just to sell a few houses a year and have a little extra income, and great if that's your goal. But if you want to go full-time, you need to take that serious and you need to have a plan. Otherwise, it will just not happen. And you need to know that for those first years, maybe you will take a lot of hustle and you're going to have to be showing up for yourself no matter how other people are, cheering you on or not. You need to do that for yourself. And that was something that definitely helped me set myself apart on that. And so kind of taking a few step backs, we bought this investment property, and I was happy and sad at the same time because I was just like, man, I really wanted to go full time. So so now we're taking the time, putting on our Airbnb together, and it's great. And we have another expanse that we're doing. So towards the end of last year, I already start telling my husband, January of 2025, I'm going full time. And his question was, which probably a lot of people is, you don't have all the money that we said you needed to have for you to make the leap, right? And I said, I know, but I am going to do it anyways. And the more I start telling myself that, to be honest, there was a little bit of fear, but I was so excited that it was finally coming. And, the day, like the end of December, when I sent that email with that resignation letter, it was probably like, the most rewarding thing that I've done in the last few years because it took me 2.5 years before I got into being full time with real estate. And so my company asked me to stay a little longer to just, handle things off to someone else. And, I did, but towards the end of January of this year, I said goodbye. I threw a little party because I don't know about you. I am a believer about celebrating about, each milestone. And that was, for me as well, just to be like a mark on the ground of like a new transition, a new journey in my life. So I did that towards the end of January this year, invited some of my friends that have been supporting me in this journey, some clients that I already had worked with this last year, and it was great. And then I had a closing in January. My next closing was not until April. And I have to say, I am a positive person and I kept saying, okay, I'm just planting. But I have to say, those first few months, I was sitting the edge of my chair, just like, okay, God, what else do I need to do? And I think a lot of that, it was just trust the process. I knew from the bottom of my heart, this was what I was supposed to do. Even if for a few months it didn't look like exactly how I thought it was going to be. I wasn't adjusting now. I have all these hours. What do I do with my time? But I kept going back to the things that I knew. Stay in front of people, communicate with everybody, doing open houses. So I started doing open houses, which I've done that in the past Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday. So I was just, if I didn't had a client, if I was not busy, I needed to be doing an open house, creating content, and talking to my sphere. So I definitely stay still very active. And then the domino effect happened. From April on, I was already working with some clients. April, I had closings coming, and since then, I've been closing every single month, sometimes twice a month. And I'm happy to share. Now we are in September, and I have been able to already make, past what my salary was in my tech job, that I work with doing just real estate. And that it is the best feeling that I can tell you. I'm not saying that maybe your story is going to be like my story, but you need to persevere in this business if it's what you want. And the thing is, like, you need to want it more than anybody else. Because as I said, a lot of the days, a lot of the nights, you're going to be alone doing the hustle, doing the work, and nobody's going to be there to applaud you or to carry you on. But at the same time, the people that you have around you is going to make the huge difference. I had to, quiet a lot of noises throughout the years and to know who are really the people that I wanted to speak in my life, that I wanted to speak especially about my business. If they were not winning, if they were not positive, if they're not closing deals, I don't want to hear from anybody else. If you're just like, oh, how is the market? It's so tough. How's that working for you? You definitely were not someone that was on my small circle. So your surroundings, who do you have with you? That is going to be key. So the major three things that honestly I have spending most of my time in this last, 3.5 years that I have been in business, where my leads are coming from. Three areas very, quickly that you guys heard, my very first deal was social media. So I never stopped. If anything, I went from posting, 4 to 5 times a week. Now I post more like twice a day, sometimes 3 times. More efficient, a lot better for sure. I've learned with time little things as, before I was creating the content in the same day, editing on the same day, posting on the same day. That is creates so much burnout. Today I'm batching my content. And what do I mean by batching? I have like, there is a day that I just grab the scripts, the idea. So I'm just on that ideation moment. And then I have the day that I'm recording because now I already know what I want to do. Then I record, hopefully my minimum is trying to like 10 if it's for short content. 10 reels because that is going to cover me for at least 2 weeks because I'm only not only posting reels, right? You do a variety with Instagram. They're always changing what's important, what not. So I do a little bit mix between reels and regular posts and carousels, so things like that, right? So, and then if you obviously, if you close a deal, if you have a team member that join your team, if you're doing an open house, those were just extra on top of the pre-scheduled ideas that I already had for every single day. And, through the years, in the beginning, I did everything myself. And then as I kind of wanted to do more, and I also wanted to be more efficient with my time, I did hire virtual assistants to help me with the low-hanging fruit. So I no longer edit my content. Once in a while, if I need something right now and they're off hours, I'll go and do it. But most of the time, everything they take care for me. I just need to still record because obviously you need to show me. And then from there, they edit, they post for me, and we go from there. But I'm super very active. I am relational. I want people to still, connect with me. I'm the one that is on the DMs. I'm the one that is talking to people. And then the other area was my sphere. Again, I know I am not for everybody, and that was something I had to overcome as well. Had friends that bought with me, had friends that did not buy with me, and bought with total stranger, realtors that they bump into. So those things will happen, right? We all have a product and it's just going to depend who wants to work with you. What's your energy? What are you giving? So that people will be drawn into that. But if you go with the energy that you want to take, oh, I want that commission, I want that client, most likely you're going to be pushing them away without even knowing it. So how you work on yourself, it's absolutely everything. And then the third area that I was working was with the open houses. I done in the last, 3.5 years, like at least 2 times I did a challenge to do, One of them, the first one was to do 100 open houses in 100 days. It was absolutely insane, but I did get, like an over $1 million deal on that. So that was pretty good because that was my goal. Was like, if I at least get one deal, I'll be great. And I got two of those when I did that one challenge. I did not complete 100 open houses in 100 days, but I did 45. And that in itself, it was like, I didn't even think it was possible. As I said, I was doing open houses on weekdays, multiple open houses on the weekend, to be able to accomplish that. And I didn't stop doing my travels because, as I shared, we have our property in Arizona. So we're traveling there at least once a month for almost a week or like a good chunk of a weekend. So I had to pile up my open houses on those other days that I was actually in town. So it was very intense, but it was definitely got a lot of results, got a lot of content because I don't waste time on an open house. I just don't sit there and hope someone's knock on my door and just wants to tour the house. I am videoing content. I'm videoing myself, like my best three little equipments. It's my iPhone, my tripod, and a mic. So those things are always with me when I'm in an open house. So I'm looking for ideas. And if there's a day that my brain is dead, like, oh, I have no idea, I am just at least shooting little videos of me plopping some pillows, walking the kitchen, walking the bathroom, opening the door, closing a door, pretending I'm drinking something. So I am always recording few little videos because I can always repurpose them for my content. So don't waste your time, whatever you're doing, go a little bit early, prep yourself, know about the home. And then if nobody shows up, do something around the house, record it, do a video tour. And then when I was done with all of that, I would go to my DM. Then I would be messaging people, reconnecting, saying hello, or texting people, whatever, whoever was on my little checklist that I needed to do. I will always use the time. I was not just surfing the internet and wait for the time to go by so that I can go home and say, oh, I went to an open house. So again, being strategic with your time, trying to maximize as much as possible so that when you say, oh, okay, now I'm going to go rest, you can go rest and not feel guilty. So, but yeah, so here I am, 8 months into this business. I already capped. I already made it, what my salary on my tech industry in my almost, 1 year of going full time. So it is totally possible. I won't lie, it's not easy, but, I just know that some people need more direction, and I'm here to help you. That's the whole point of this channel. So I have put a little playbook that hopefully will just kind of guide you few steps by step of like, working on your mindset, having a plan, taking action. You cannot just plan it. You cannot even have a goal. If you don't take action, things are not going to happen. So I'm going to be putting all this link and all the information below and how you can get access to this download. But the best part is I'm here, I'm available. Book a call with me if you want to learn more about my journey, if you want to share about your journey, because I would love to get to know you. If there's anything that I can help you, and goes beyond, I would love for you to join my group and see what we're doing and what we're all about. We're being, every state in the US, we have someone that is within our group outside of the US, in Canada, and in many other countries. But let's go back to you. I want to be able to serve you and help you. And if there's anything that I can do to help you succeed, that makes me happy because I really am in this business to see you win. I don't care if you are with my group or not with my group. If there's anything that I can share that you can take that and implement in your business today and that can help you, for me, all it takes, it's just one person because I want to be able to impact someone. So anyways, I am just so excited for you to be here today. Thank you for listening to this message. There's so many strategies that we can go on, but today I wanted to really focus just sharing a little bit of my story through that process. So book a call, let's connect. And I hope, you say a hello to me in one of my platforms and let me know how I can help you. And until then, make sure that you do a little subscribe on this channel so you can see upcoming videos that I'm doing. Some of it, sharing my journey, sharing how I've been breaking out into luxury and so many other things. But also, I am interviewing top producers where they're sharing their strategy and how it has helped their business scale, and then giving tips for you that maybe are feeling stuck or just getting started that hopefully will be very insightful for you to grow in this industry. So don't give up. Let's try again.